Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go!
The best play-by-play voice in the CFL, Bob Marjanovich, the Moj in BC. You just chowed down Moj's famous soup. What's in Moj's famous soup? Like, what is the famous soup?
Here you go. You got a little chicken broth. If you don't have chicken broth, you use this stuff called vegeta.
Okay.
It's a Serbian Croatian type. It's just basically like a soup broth or whatever. So you just throw in a couple of teaspoons of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like doing, I had some extra spätzle.
Okay.
Floating around. It's like a German pasta.
Yeah.
Usually have it with like rouladen.
Yeah.
So I threw a little bit of that in there. I got carrots, I got Brussels sprouts, I got onions, I got mild Italian sausage. And what else do I got? No, that's basically about it, but it's so good.
Yeah, it looks
Especially
good.
in Vancouver today, so.
It looks good. Well, tell you what, rain there. We're supposed to get some rain/snow, but it won't be that way for the game. -4 overnight, low of -16. So who knows what it's going to be like for game time. Do we make too much of the BC Lions and the weather when you guys come out this way?
Yes and no. And I say that because, most of the players are downplaying it. Buck Pierce talks about it being a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And, people say, well, it shouldn't, it should be an advantage to the riders. Here's where I see an advantage. I mean, you fly in, you have to get used to it right then and there. Like, games on Saturday, you're flying in Friday, you're playing Saturday, right? Whereas the riders, they've been out there the entire week. So their bodies are already used to the weather, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be too severe, so I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. I mean, guys have done this before, but if there is an advantage, it should go to the riders, particularly if it's more extreme, because, like I said, they've been out there, whereas whoever they're playing is just flying in the day before the game.
Well, fortunately for you, though, it's been very nice here. Like today was like +8. It was +10 before, so they won't have much.
So it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it'd be pretty fine, yeah.
Well, it's nice that when we came out there a couple of weeks ago, it was like 17 degrees and sunny.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then we landed at like midnight. It was like 8 degrees in the middle of a monsoon. I'm like, WTF, what the hell's going on here?
Hey, Moj, there are cliches for a reason, and football's a pretty simple game. You make your quarterback comfortable, make the other quarterback uncomfortable, but really when it comes down to it, that's where this game lies, I believe. How do you see it?
I think it's a little bit, I go a little deeper than that, and I'll tell you why, because I think both are very good quarterbacks. So how do you disrupt their flow? How do you disrupt their timing? How do you make them feel uncomfortable, right? So I always say this, and you talk about cliches. The reason they're cliches, my old buddy Chris Burns used to say they're cliches because they're true, and they've proven to be true over a long period of time. To me, it's in the trenches. You got to win the battle on the line of scrimmage, right? So they have to protect Nathan Rourke through the lines, and they have to get to Trevor Harris. So whoever wins that battle in the line of scrimmage is going to come out on ahead on Saturday.
Yeah, so this might sound a little ridiculous. The Riders had 9 all-CFLers, including Milligan and Tavon Campbell, who turned out to be a great signing by the Riders on the back end. But I think the Riders' secondary is susceptible to the BC Lions' aerial attack if the Riders' D-line can get to Rourke. And, Calgary got to him a little bit in that game against you guys last week.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because if you look at the Riders' numbers in terms of passing yardage given up, they've given up a fair chunk, and I want to say they're in the bottom third, maybe 8th if I'm not mistaken, in terms of passing yards given up this season. So that's going to be a key point. But I think what you have to do from a play calling perspective, and I know Buck Pierce is very cognizant of this, you have to create some doubt. I had a great conversation with Paul Charbonneau. If they had an award for Assistant Coach of the Year, it should go to Lions offensive line coach Paul Charbonneau with what he's done with this personnel grouping, which is basically the same as last year's.
Yeah.
When they were much maligned, and this year they played much better. But he said you have to, what was the response? A conflict of responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words is, what am I supposed to do here, right? Am I supposed to go with the running back in the flat, or am I supposed to pressure the quarterback, right? I think, pardon me, it was conflict of assignment. That's what he meant.
Yeah.
That was the term that he used. So for me, it was like very, very profound verbiage that he used. And I say that because that's what you want to do if you're on offense. You want to create doubt. You don't want players playing with confidence, with aggressiveness. You want to create doubt to the in the mind of a defensive player. So how do you do that? Pre-snap motion, right? I mean, that's the first thing you can do. Maybe some of the things you do in terms of alignment. Maybe it is, you're moving the launch point for a quarterback. Maybe it's your point of attack. Are you going east-west? Are you going north-south? Are you mixing things up? So to me, I think that's a big key that Buck Pierce has to incorporate into his game calling and his game planning is somehow, some way, creating that doubt to take the edge off that Saskatchewan pass rush.
But I'll tell you what, Nathan Rourke, most outstanding Canadian nominee, most outstanding player, when he said a few weeks ago these rules are garbage, and then he didn't back away from it after meeting with the commissioner, I was like, give that guy the trophy right now. He's the face of this league. But I tell you what, he's
the all-star, so if that's a harbinger, right? He beat out Bo Levi Mitchell for the All-Star Award. So.
Yeah, he's an absolute stud, and he's taken his game to another level. I don't remember him being this elusive and fast. I don't remember that.
That's something I don't want to say it's new to his game. I just think he's developed more of that to his game and, his speed. And, it's funny, somebody was talking about this the other day. When they had that controversial play where Hatcher fumbled the ball and Campbell picked it up.
Yeah.
Did you see Rourke closing on Campbell?
Yes.
And Campbell is this guy's, he's a world-class athlete, right?
4.2, 4.3, yeah.
Yeah, so when that happened, I was like, yeah. And we've seen a whole bunch of plays this year where he's been so elusive and he just turned on the jets. But it's just something that he works on, and that's what Nathan Rourke is. He's a workaholic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the facility yesterday doing our podcast, our First and Out podcast. I'm leaving at 4 o'clock, and there's, Nate, Buck, and the coaches in Buck's office looking at tape. So, he's first one in, last one out, and an amazing work ethic.
No disrespect to Rick Campbell. I've only interviewed him a couple of times. I probably don't know him as intimately as you, but he's a guy that likes to even stay reserved for the play-by-play guy too. But how much has Buck Pierce made a difference with this football team?
I think he's made a huge difference. And where I'm going to go with this is I think Rick let the players just kind of be the players and police themselves and, kind of do their own thing. And he gave them a lot of leeway. And I think that's okay if you have the right players. But if the players start taking advantage of that, then you have, quote, the inmates running the asylum. And one of the things that I think's really kind of taken over with Buck, or one of the things that he's emphasized is accountability, right? And I think that's something that has been pretty noticeable compared to last year. Mm-hmm. And discipline as well, just the way you conduct yourself around the facility. I'm not going to get into specifics, but let's just say things are a little bit more professional around the facility with Buck than they were with Rick. And it's just, I just think Rick or Buck runs a tighter ship, a stricter ship. So, whereas Rick kind of let everybody kind of do things themselves, Buck is a little bit more hands-on, I guess.
You've seen a lot of players come and go. Jackson Finley, what do you think of him, in terms of being a rookie?
What do I think of him? Well, first off, I think I'm old. Because I coached his dad, Anthony, when I was coaching at UBC. When you're coaching a player's dad, you're done, right? Yeah. So, Anthony had coached at UBC. When I just finished playing, I think we might have played together for a year, and then I coached him for 3 years. He was a DB. I was a D-line coach, but just a great young man. I can see why the Lions moved up to trade for him in the draft. He was one of their top guys on the board. Very bright, articulate, super smart. I think he's going to become a doctor or something. He's working on that degree. So, and he just picks things up really quick, right? And he's, like I said, he's an athlete. So, 4 interceptions in 4 games, or almost 4 interceptions in 4 games. I think he has 3 and 3, but he's been a great find for the BC Lions and well needed considering the fact that, they lost Christophe Boyou to an ACL. And there's another young player, second-year guy out of Laval who was looking really good as well. So they're going to have an embarrassment of riches next year at the safety position. It'll be interesting to see how they incorporate both of them in the defense.
I had Hags on yesterday's show. I found it quite, it's such a small league. It was quite cool to see a Regina boy who started his season in Winnipeg punch out the ball on special teams, and it gets recovered by another boy, Kieran Poisson, so a little Regina connection.
I think it was Eau Claire that punched out the ball.
Was it Eau Claire? Okay.
I think it was Eau Claire, yeah.
Haggerty was in the mix, and so I was like, oh, it's great to see him. It's great to see him land on his feet.
I saw Haggerty, I just bumped into him one day, and we don't really talk much. I mean, for the pregame shows, you know what it's like. You talk to the Hatchers and the Rourkes and all that. You don't necessarily talk to a backup DB like Haggerty. But I just bumped into him the other day, and I said, dude, we were talking about you on air. I said, you do not look like a football player. You look like you should be like the lead guitarist for a rock band or something, right? I mean, he doesn't. He just, swear to God, he just looks like he looks like some guy who should be up on stage at the Roxy, shutting her down,
Yeah.
But good dude, good guy, and of course, good Saskatchewan kid. Got a few of those, and we won't talk about Saskatchewan too much, considering
no,
the fact that UBC kind of got drilled. But anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, they did. What do you make of? While we're on that, actually, I'll put that in my memory bank before you got to go to the Canucks game. I'll ask that at the end. So. Robert Carter Jr., another guy. Vavel, Rookie of the Year, great for the Blue Bombers, but you could make a case for that defensive back with the BC Lions, who has been good as a defensive back, and then added the returns to his game, too, there last week.
Well, to be honest, I voted for Carter as Rookie of the Year. And here's why. I think he had way more of an impact on his team playing, being a starter on defense. And I know Vavel played a little bit on defense, and he made a big impact on specials as well. But when I asked Mike Benavides, the Lions defensive coordinator, and this is what I like to do, believe it or not, unlike some people, some of our brethren, I actually like talking to coaches and players and getting their opinions on, some of the choices that I have to make for All-Stars or nominees or this or that. And I asked Mike Benavides, I said, Carter, I go, how does he grade out? He goes, honestly, he's one of our highest grade guys every week, right? Wow. So, it's fine and dandy to get the returns, to get the interceptions, whatever. What are you doing those, 95% of those other 95% of snaps, right? What are you doing there? And that's why I really believed I went with Carter, because I just think he made much more of a significant impact overall than Vavel did.
Let me dig a little deeper there. So Hardrick had a great year with the Riders. He did, and I was actually pretty surprised by that, because he had his came over long in the tooth when Winnipeg didn't re-sign him, and then he had the injury last year and didn't finish the year. He's had a good year this year. But, of course, the Saskatchewan media is going to vote for Hardrick, and rightfully so. But do you think as Winnipeg media types voted him in? Because I thought your guy in BC, Broxton, should have got that nod. I thought he had.
I mean, you look at the numbers. Some of the numbers that Broxton put up. Offensive lineman of the month for the last 2 months of the season, highest rated pass pro blocker the entire season. I mean, the numbers back it up. And then you just look at the overall picture. Number one offense, not only in the league since I don't know when, in terms of yardage per game. Least amount of sacks allowed in the league. You had the top-ranked quarterback, the second, third rusher in Butler. I don't know how you don't vote for Broxton, but, like I said in my tweet, it's a buddy system. So you vote for the guy that you know for. He's our buddy, whatever, boom. And I understand the Saskatchewan guys voting for their guy. I mean, whatever, but then it gets into the buddy system, and we know where Hardrick's buddies are. So simple.
Yeah, hey, that's good. Matt, I love you because you just call it like you see it. I know another guy like that. Hey, Matthew Betts, like so many guys, he goes to the NFL, and when they come back, they're in a bit of a fog. It's because they wanted to chase their dream, and the ultimate goal playing in the NFL doesn't work out. I think Nathan Rourke was, he fell to that too. But Betts looks like the Betts before he left. He's coming off like he shot out of a cannon. Just talk about Matthew Betts.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Betts. Everybody talks about the sacks, right?
Yeah.
Watch Betts. If you have some time, just watch a Lions game from start to finish, if you've got it on TSN Demand or whatever, or even if you're just watching the game this weekend, watch Betts for 4 or 5 series. And it's not about, for me, it's not as much as the sacks. This guy has what they call a motor, right? I mean, he is flying downfield. He's chasing plays down. He is always flying to the football, right? And to me, that's what makes Matthew Betts really good. It's just like we're talking about Carter. Everybody talks about sacks. Okay, so we had 15 sacks at Matthew Betts, or whatever the number is. So what happened, let's say 40, 50 snaps a game. What happened for those other 900 snaps during the course of the year, right? I mean, what did he do there? Did he execute his assignment? Was he hustling to the ball? Was he doing what he was supposed to do? And for me, Betts ticks all those boxes for the most part because, like I said, you watch him and just watch how he flies around the field.
You're also an NFL guy. You're known for going down to all these Super Bowls and do great work there. I follow you on the social media platforms. But Moj, what do you think of Saturday CFL football against U Sports Saturday football? To me, like, I don't get football in this country. It seems like we operate in silos. We don't work together. I don't like it. I don't like it when it's playoff time. It crushes U Sports. It crushes junior football. I don't like it.
Well, it's interesting. We had the celebration of life for Frank Smith, the legendary UBC coach.
Yep.
A couple of Mondays ago, and before that, we had a legacy football dinner for the UBC Legacy Football Foundation. Anyway, in both of those instances, I was talking to Blake Neal, talking to Patrice, some of the other coaches, and I'm like, man, I'd love to watch you guys play. It just seems like every time you guys play at home, we're on the road or we're playing. Like, there's always a conflict, right?
Yeah.
Even like when we landed in Regina last week, we landed at like 4 o'clock on a Friday, and they were playing at 1. They were playing in Regina, but they were playing at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have an opportunity to go watch the game. If the game been at 7, would have been love to go over there and, go out to watch the Thunderbirds take on the Rams. They're called the Rams, right? Yeah.
Yes, they're the Rams. Yes, you're right. Yeah, right.
I know they kept the name. I always get confused. What's the junior team called now? The Thunder or something?
Thunder, but the Rams wear Cougar colors, so I can get.
So it's just like it just seems. But here's the thing, Ballsy. I played a little JUCO in California, right?
Yep.
And the cool thing about the States that I loved, Friday night everybody would go watch high school football. Yep. Saturday it was all college, right? JUCO, we played on Saturdays, but the big schools would play on the Saturdays, and then Sunday was NFL. It was just this perfect alignment. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You kind of knew what you were doing, right? Friday, high school. Saturday, college. Sunday, NFL. Whereas here, it's all over the map, right?
Yeah.
Even like high school games. I mean, I'm getting, posts on X about scores from last night. I'm like, how come they're playing on a Wednesday night or Thursday night? It's just, I think it would be really cool if somehow we could kind of align the map so that everybody kind of has their own night, so to speak.
Yeah.
But to do that, you need the CFL playing multiple games on one night, say 3 or 4 games, I should say. I know they play the double headers, but to do 4 games on one night would take away from the TV money, so that's never going to happen.
I want to talk to you about the rules, but not today because I just want to focus on
come on, Ballsy. What are you, getting timid in your old age or what?
So let's do it then. Buddy, I watched both of those games. So last weekend, there were 3 instant classics. Whether you like the Jays or not, that was an instant classic. Game 7, probably won't get a better Game 7 in the World Series, at least to this point, okay? Then the 2 CFL games were instant classics. The Montreal game didn't start out that way, but it turned into a real good football game, and then your game was spectacular in the last 2 minutes. And I keep banging my head, I'm like, it's not excuse my language, but it's not the fucking game. The game is not the problem. Bob, am I wrong? Like, it drives me nuts.
Here's my issue with these changes. When I look at them, like, independently in a silo, I kind of go, okay, I understand that. Okay, maybe, whatever. I can understand the reasoning. The issue that I have with all of this is, number one, I think there are other things that should be prioritized, and I'll get into those in a second. Mm-hmm. But number 2 is the process as well, right? So let me figure this out. Commissioner Stu decides to go on this tour, and, the people that I talk to, and blah, 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 blah. During my tour, I was asking questions. I'm like, oh, really? That sounds really in-depth and, a lot of due diligence spent there. I mean, I would have done market analysis, like, research analysis. Why aren't you watching games? Why are you watching games? Whatever the case may be, I would go that deep. Then it seemed all of this was rushed.
Yes.
Right? Everything was rushed. And even he said, I like to work quickly and I don't like to rush things. Well, most other leagues, when they institute significant changes, will usually have a period where those changes are at a minor league level. Like the pitch clock was in baseball in the minors for like 1 or 2 years before they incorporated into the big leagues, right? taking out the red line, whatever. I mean, a lot of times these new initiatives are tested out at the minor league level. They get feedback. They think, okay, this is good, this is bad, before they're instituted on the bigger stage, whether it's Major League Baseball or the NHL. So if they were, wondering about these rule changes, why not go to Canada West or U Sports or whatever and say, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars to cover some costs, but can you run these rules this year and see how it transpires? Like, can we get some data from Canada West this year and the games that they're playing, and, let's shorten the field, do the clock, this, that. But even like when he talks about the clock, good old Commissioner Stu, he uses that Hamilton-Edmonton game as an example.
Yeah.
It took 11 minutes to play the final 2 minutes of this game. I went back and watched it. About 4 to 5 minutes was damn video reviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It wasn't the game itself. It was the video booth, the video replay command center, the boys in Fort McMurray, wherever they're at, in that basement suite, because I swear to God, there's three guys down there just chowing down on pizza. Sometimes they're watching the game, sometimes they're not.
Playing darts.
Oh, no, it's just, no, come on. I mean, seriously. You want to fix stuff? Number one, I'm fixing the replay command center, and I'm working on the officiating. To me, those are two issues that have to be fixed. How I'm going to just say it, how in the hell was that? Was it Philpott that was stopped at the 5-yard line?
Stevie Scott.
He gets pushed back, Stevie Scott, pardon me. He gets pushed back 2 yards. Not 1, but 2 yards. He gets pushed back by the defenders, by the Winnipeg Blue Bomber defenders. And here come like 3 linemen, literally bulldoze him into the end zone. One of them, I think, pulled him into the end zone.
Yes. Yeah, Lawrence.
How the hell is forward progress not stopped? And by the way, let's get rid of these rugby scrums because they're complete BS.
Yes.
So to me, that play right there made your league look bush.
Yep.
To me, that's what you got to get rid of. Don't get rid of the 55-yard line. Get rid of horse crap plays like that. It was brutal. It was bush league, and it was minor, and it doesn't have any spot in our sport, in our league.
Moj,
so to me, that's one thing I'm going to fix.
Moj, I got just hold on here a second. Let me figure this out. I'm going to go do this right now. Look at this. Look at this. Look at my phone. I got all these apps on my phone. Okay?
Oh, don't even get me going on that. Yeah. So you're trying to connect with the younger generation. What does the younger generation do? They don't even talk to one another. They text one another. They sit there on the phone. They do their thing. How do you not have an app? Right? Yeah. How do you not have an app? How do you not have a stats package? And Steve Daniel and his crew do an amazing job. An amazing job. I got the season-end stats. I mean, you can find anything what you want in there. How that is not accessible to the general public, it's a crime. Because you know what? Steve Daniel and his crew do an amazing job, and people should know what type of work they do, and their work should be accessible to CFL fans, but it's not. How do you not have like some sort of fantasy app? How are you not associated with EA Sports and getting a CFL game out there? All of these things that, forget about the people that are 30, 35. They're done. They've made their choice. They're going to be NFL fans. Let them be NFL fans. You want to be NFL fans, fine. Where you really want to turn things around, start turning it around with the kids, with the younger generation, those, 9, 8, 7, 10, whatever, 12-year-olds. Those are the fans that you got to get to. Those are the fans that you have to convince. And you do it by doing some of the things we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So the BC Lions have no chance. They've got no chance. There's 9 all CFLers here. The Lions are going to roll into town. It's very cold. It's basically done for the Lions. I don't even know why you're spending the jet fuel to come here.
Yeah, well, I know why. We're going to the Hotel Sass for the old fashioned.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. I loved sitting down with you last time you were in town. So the BC Lions are going to win, and if they're going to win or when they're going to win, Moj, how are they doing it? What's the key to winning this game?
I think a big key. Well, first off, we talked about winning the line of scrimmage. Right? That's always a big key. But I think one of the things too you have to look at is Saskatchewan hasn't played a meaningful game in a month. Yeah. Right. So I think the Lions have basically been playing playoff football for the last 5 weeks. So I think a big key is the Lions have to get off to a good start, right? Make make it a football game in the first, second quarter. I mean, get off to a good start. Try to take the crowd out of it a little bit, and also plant that seed of doubt in, the Saskatchewan Roughriders' heads. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying if that's, to me, it'd be a recipe for success. Because, a lot of times you see these teams that haven't played a meaningful game for a month, and, it's a heavyweight fight, a playoff game is, right? And, you've been used to sparring for the last month or so without exchanging body blows. So I think, it's going to be interesting. If the Lions can get off to a good start, take the crowd out of it a little bit, I think we're in for a really good football game.
Okay, 2 more questions for you. Number one, that East Final. Davis Alexander is a great football player, and as a media guy like yourself, I like people with personality, but I think he's getting a little bit too big for his britches, shooting his mouth off that he could have scored 60 against the Bombers and all this stuff. Now, he's against Bo Levi Mitchell, who has been known to talk a thing or two, but has a bigger resume. Football can humble you in a hurry. Will Hamilton humble Montreal, or does the perfect streak continue for Davis Alexander into a Grey Cup against Saskatchewan or your BC Lions?
I think Montreal beats them.
Okay.
And I just say that because, I looked at Hamilton's record against non-playoff teams this year, against playoff teams. I think they were 4-6.
Yeah.
Right. Something about Hamilton, I'm just not sold on him. And I think Montreal is riding, obviously, a bit of a streak here coming into this game, and having Alexander. They're just a different team with him at quarterback. They've got some bodies back. I know that when we played them earlier in the year, we didn't see Alexander, and they had a bunch of guys that were banged up. They're getting healthy, they're getting confident, and then they just feel good about their team. So I'll go with Montreal in this one. I think they're going to knock off Hamilton.
I think you're right. And the big story of the day, Ryan Dinwiddie goes from Toronto to Ottawa because he gets to be the GM. Remarkably, Burke sticks around there. I'm not saying anything against Sean Burke. I just thought they haven't been very good, so you wipe the slate clean. I had heard Ryan Dinwiddie liked Argos, but he didn't like living in Toronto. I heard that a couple of years ago, so I wasn't overly shocked he went. I heard he liked Western Canada, but he ends up in Ontario, still in Ottawa. Just your thoughts on Dinwiddie going to Ottawa, and what do the Argos do next? Does Mr. O'Shea leave and go finally back to Toronto?
Yeah. Who knows what happens there? But first, regarding Mike O'Shea, I don't know. I think it would have to take a lot to get him out of Winnipeg. He just seems like that guy that enjoys a city like Winnipeg. You know what I mean? He's just that down to earth people person. And
the vibe I got in talking to my kid in their end of the season meetings. The vibe is like he was talking like he's coming back, although that was before this Dinwiddie thing came to pass. But yeah,
if Toronto backs up the Brinks truck, I don't know. I don't know how much of a difference it could be with a salary cap in place for coaches. But maybe it's more control. I don't know, but I just don't see O'Shea leaving Winnipeg. I really don't. As far as Dinwiddie going to Ottawa, thank you. And I say that because I think the Ottawa fans deserve so much. I think I did the stats one time before a game, Ballsy. I think they've had one season of over 500 football since 1975 or something. And I know there was a lot of years where they didn't have teams, but still, it's just, this is a city that deserves to have some winning football. I think they have great fans. And, the biggest issue there is consumer confidence. Well, you bring in a guy who's won multiple Grey Cups in Ryan Dinwiddie as your coach and GM. Hopefully it turns things around. And I really do, because for me, it's about those fans in Ottawa, and that they deserve so much more.
Folks, if you want to hear the art form of calling play-by-play, like so many things in our industry, is going by the wayside. This guy gets excited. He tells you which way they're going on your radio dial. He tells you, it drives me nuts, Moj, when I tune into a game and somebody goes, well, they're going, pass on the far side of the field. Well, that means nothing to me if you don't tell me they're going left to right on your radio, or left to right as we see them from the broadcast booth. Moj does this. He brings the energy. And so I would say, if you're watching it, mute your TV and listen to the BC Lions game. It's going to be great. Hey, going to be a great weekend of football. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to it because it's the last 3 games of true Canadian Football League football. It's true. This is our last 3 games.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it because it's your turn to buy rounds at the Hotel Sask.
You text me and I will. You text me, I'll be there, bro.
All right, man.
Take care, man. Thanks a lot.
All the best.
Bye. Athletes aren't built during the season. They're built here in the off-season, where real progress happens. At the Den Sports Performance and Agility Center, they don't just train, they develop. For athletes ages 13 to 17, they offer team packages and individual group training with up to 5 weekly sessions of your choice of dryland or strength-focused work. Every program blends strength, agility, balance, mobility, speed, and recovery with a focus on durability that most programs overlook. Because showing up on game day means staying strong all season. Every session is coached by a certified speed and strength specialist and focused on long-term athletic success, not quick fixes. Flexible programming, real results. The Den Sports Performance and Agility Center is where serious athletes level up. Book your spot now at thedenyqr.ca. All right, first off-season edition of our baller segment. How are you?
Sad that it's the off season already, but I'm good.
It was fast, wasn't it? First season, fast, hey?
Yeah, it's 6 full months and it's long, but it goes by quick. I think game after game after game after game, you don't really have time to stop and think. And then you get to the end, and you're like, holy cow, it's been 6 months and it's gone by really, really fast. So yeah, definitely flew by.
So the news of the day is your coach going to be gone? Because Ryan Dinwiddie's gone. He's gone from Toronto to Ottawa to be the coach and GM, and everybody knows that Mike O'Shea and Pinball Clemens are buddies, and everybody knows that Mike O'Shea is Argo's royalty, not only as a player, I think 12 years, Hall of Famer, but then he was there 4 years as an assistant coach. What do you think?
It's crazy news in terms of CFL. You usually don't hear this stuff before the Grey Cup, I feel like. You're probably asking the wrong guy. I have no clue what's going to happen or what's going to go on.
No, I'm asking the right guy because you were in the like nobody knew this was happening, but you were in the locker room with your exit meetings and everything. So before this came down, obviously, because nobody knew. But what was the vibe you got from talking with everybody? Like they'd be back even though things were up in the air. Like what was kind of the vibe you got?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys want to be back in general. I mean, the culture that's been built in Winnipeg and the culture that Coach O'Shea has built over the last 9+ years is amazing. I think it's a reason why a lot of guys, sometimes take a little bit less to stay in Winnipeg because of the group of men that are in that locker room and the fun we have and the camaraderie. So yeah, over the last couple of days before moving home, I think it was just a lot of that. Guys wanting to spend time together and strengthen the bonds that we've had over the last 6 months, or I guess guys that have been here for 6+ years. And I think Coach O'Shea is a part of that. And, he's obviously a legend in the CFL, but in Winnipeg now is, the winningest coach in that franchise's history. And he has legacy status and can really do, whatever he wants. So yeah, I don't know what he's thinking. And I think he loves the city of Winnipeg and has his family there and, is part of the community. And, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just see what happens this year with the offseason in general in terms of, guys moving around and what's going to happen.
I find it funny. Like I have a different view because I've been involved pretty heavily with the Winnipeg's biggest rivals, the Rough Riders, and you grew up wanting to be a Rough Rider. And I was always the guy like, oh, there's no way anybody would take 10 or 15 grand less to go play in Winnipeg. Like, and that's not a shot at Winnipeg, although back then I was taking shots at Winnipeg. But it was like who would go? It's the CFL, stands for cash flow low. But you texted me, said, no, Dad, like I could see exactly why guys want to take less to stay here.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's a CFL, right? Nobody's really getting rich playing this game. Obviously, guys can make very good money and livable money, especially to play a kid's sport. But I think, to go somewhere else and maybe make $10,000 or $15,000 more, after taxes, you're taking home half of that. Is it worth it when you really love a place and you love a group of guys and, you love coming into work every day and, growing and building something in a building? So I definitely can see it. And I had a great experience just playing football this year and being part of that organization. It's probably the most fun I've had playing football, since high school maybe. So that's not a shot at anybody else. Just the fact of the matter, I really enjoyed myself this year, even though the season didn't go the way we wanted it to. So, yeah, I think it's special what's going on in Winnipeg. And, I think it's going to continue to be special.
Arash Madani said that he thought Mike O'Shea's time's up. Like it's up. Like he's hasn't had his team prepared, too loyal to guys, and time has passed them by. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. So you were in the dress. I said no, you're wrong, but I'm asking you now because you were in the dressing room. Is it time for Does he still have a grasp of that team? Is he still the leader? Do guys still buy what he's selling because he's been there a long time?
Yeah, I think you can ask any guy in that room, and he's a great leader of men. I think the numbers and the facts speak for itself, and guys wanting to take less to stay in Winnipeg and the culture that's there. I think you've had 9 straight winning seasons. You've been to 5 straight Grey Cups. I don't know how many people can say they've done that in any sport, never mind the CFL. And obviously you want to win it every single year, and that's what we wanted to do this year, but you're naive to think in sports that's going to happen year after year, every single year till the end of time. So, we were 10-8 this year. We were a little bit up and down and didn't do what we wanted to do, but by no means, were we a bottom feeder or is the sky falling and it's the end of this or end of that. I don't know. I think that's a little bit crazy to say and get on.
Did you tell Demski and Brady Oliveira they're full of shit? Like they're coming back? Like those are two. Like when I walk out of the stadium, I see Claros jerseys and I see Jefferson jerseys and I see Tony Jones jerseys, like some of those jerseys, and then old school ones like Dressler and Schoen and stuff. But I see 2-1 Brady and Demski. For what you just said, do you think those guys are going to be back? Like I know that they've got, they could go. There'll be a lot of teams that would want them, but do you think at the end of the day they look at it and go like, we got it pretty good here. We're going to be in the Ring of Honor. We're going to be one of we're legendary right here. Why would you want to leave? You know what I mean? Do you bug them?
Yeah, of course, guys joke and stuff in the locker room, and obviously everybody has to take care of their own business, and it is a business, and you have to say certain things, to the media, and there's negotiations that go on behind closed doors that nobody else knows about. But those two guys are obviously legends in the city. Winnipeg guys, Winnipeg royalty, Winnipeg's second sons. So yeah, I don't know what's going through their head. I think they both obviously love the city and they're Winnipeg guys. So we'll see. But obviously, like you said, every single team in the league would be lucky to have those guys. So they're obviously going to have their options and are going to be able to do whatever they want to do. And they've earned that right, and they've set themselves up to be able to make those decisions. And I think any player that's played long enough and has the ability to do that should do that and should do their due diligence.
If you're a betting man, and you do like to bet once in a while, if you're a bet, not on CFL, I'm talking. We don't need that. Like we you and I like to bet on NHL and stuff. So if you're a betting man, is Mike O'Shea back? Is Brady Oliveira back? Is Nick Demski back? If Ethan, you don't have any inside information because you wouldn't know, but you think they're back? You think they're back? All of them?
Yeah, I think you'd be crazy to put the bet on them not being back. I guess I would say that. So yeah, if I had to with no information whatsoever, I would say yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So what's it like? You're done now? Did you have any pinch me moments? Like after the season, you're sharing a beer with Claros, with Neufeld, with Willie Jefferson, with Stanley Bryant, with Brady and Nick, and you're like, I grew up watching these. I'm in college watching these guys. I'm growing up watching these guys. When Demski got into this league, you were 13 years old, so you saw Nick Demski from a young, impressionable guy. So do you have any pinch me moments like that, or not really?
Yeah, in the moment, I don't think you do throughout the season, just because it's a grind and you're focused on your work. I think the last couple of days after the season, you take advantage of those moments because as a kid, you would have, killed to be able to be in those situations. And I think it's all about just networking and growing those connections and those friendships that hopefully, develop over time. And those are guys that you don't know what's going to happen in 10 years from now or 15 years from now and where those guys are, where you'll be, your opportunities that might present itself. So yeah, I think as the season's ended here in the last couple of days, you give yourself a couple of days to reflect on what you've accomplished and what's gone on over the last 6 months, and it is pretty cool.
Speaking of cool, hold up your helmet. Get your helmet there. Get your helmet up at the thing there. There's a bit of a drag on my end, so yeah, that looks nice. Any scars there? I can't really tell. Any war scars there?
Yeah, there's some paint chips on there, and the back little plate is kind of ripped off. So yeah, there's definitely a couple scars on there from the season.
That's your helmet and a couple of jerseys. So, are there like I talked about pinch me moments? Is there like, do you have any vivid memories of like a couple of vivid memories of like any games or any moments or anything like that for you?
Um, yeah, I mean they were all special in their own way. I think Labor Day was cool for obvious reasons. Um, Ottawa was cool. I thought I played really well in Ottawa, and you got
Yeah,
to come to that game, which was awesome.
yeah.
Um,
What about the
Playoff
first
game was
one in
aw-
Toronto? What about the first one in Toronto?
Yeah, very, very first game. Yeah, that was cool. I mean, obviously the atmosphere in Toronto isn't anything to write home about, but of course it poured rain for my whole first game on natural
Yeah.
grass, so it was slipping around a little bit. Um, yeah, there was just some cool moments, I guess, throughout the season, and I'll start to reflect on those in coming days. Um, but it was awesome. I got to go to all the CFL stadiums, and besides BC, and growing up as a
Yeah.
kid, you always wondered what it would be like to go to games in different spots, and I had never really been. So that was cool in and of itself, just getting to see every CFL city throughout the season.
You saw one I never saw. I never saw the Toronto one, so that was. You said the stadium's decent. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, so a couple of all CFLers on your team, Trey Vavel, which we've already talked about. But how about Evan Holm, your homie from North Dakota? How much did he welcome you onto the team? And just talk to me about what a vital guy he is on and off the field, actually, for that team.
Yeah, he's a great human being, honestly, first and foremost. Kind of an unassuming guy, and maybe if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't think he's this stud football player just from his looks. Um, but yeah, like what he does in the locker room in terms of like book club and Bible study and board games and just bringing guys together in the locker room is super special. And I think that means more than anything even on the football field. But obviously, as a football player, in my opinion, probably the best halfback in the CFL, and what he does on the strong side and in space. And he's on an island most of the game by himself. And, rarely does Evan Holm ever get beat deep or get exposed in a game. So he's just super steady, and he made a lot of plays this year, capitalized on a lot of interceptions, which I knew that was one thing he wanted to do more than he did last year, and finishing off plays, and he definitely did it, and he earned that all CFL.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you grade your rookie season? Like it's funny because it's not funny, but you got hurt, then you didn't play, and you're like, am I going to go back to school, Dad? I said, I don't know, but obviously you stuck around the practice roster. And then you got down against Toronto, and then every week for like a good chunk of the year, it's like, I hope I'm on next week. I'm hoping I'm on next week. Did there become a part where, like, not comfortable is not the word, but where you're like, I belong here, like I'm here. This is like I'm a professional football player.
Yeah, I think it felt like I belonged, but you always kind of have that mindset that somebody else is coming for your job, I guess, so you never get comfortable, which I think is a good thing. Obviously, you have to be confident in your own abilities and what you can do and that you're doing well, but it's good to not become comfortable because you always want to be grinding and knowing that somebody's chasing you and you're trying to get better yourself. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like it just, the season, went the way it went, and I was just lucky enough to stay healthy and stay in the lineup week in and week out once I got up. And I'm super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful to have, started the season with an injury, but finished it, healthy, and I feel good going into the off season, which I didn't get to do last year. So I feel really, really grateful for that.
So Luke Wilson took a picture.
But as a season, like I guess, in terms of how I grade myself, like I thought I did relatively well. I mean, I'm always going to be my own hardest critic, but the biggest thing is I think I earned the respect of the coaching staff and of my peers and teammates, which is the goal and what you want to do. And I think I showed that I can play special teams in this league, hopefully for a few more years. So, overall, I think it was a successful season. It was really cool to be a part of like the best special teams group in the CFL.
Yeah.
It's cool to have Trey Vavel, who I think is going to win Rookie of the Year and Special Teams Player of the Year. To be a part of that is, something cool in my rookie year. Just a lot of cool things, and overall, I'd give myself a decent grade.
I'll tell you what also surprised me, I was going to talk about Luke Wilson, but what also surprised me was Wade Miller. Wade Miller, like when I was on the other side, I'd say like, O'Shea knows how to work the refs. Wade Miller also says things in public, like, like he stands up for his team, where I was involved with the team where the coach would say something, but nobody else would say anything. And kind of drove me nuts, but I had respect for that. But I got respect for Wade Miller and the fact that he walks around every game, shakes everybody's hand. At least I see him on the lower bowl doing that, going section to section. There was a seat broken in the section I was in. He got the guy to come down and fix the seat. He stood there while he fixed the seat and, looked after that. He had you at his house, and then he made you guys lunch before a playoff game.
Yeah, like, I don't think there's too many team presidents around the league or in sports that do that for a lot of teams and guys on the team. So, yeah, stand-up individual and a guy that does a lot for this team and, for the organization and for the community really in general, I think. And I think people in Winnipeg know that and really appreciate him. And like you said, he's there in the crowd every game, shaking fans' hands, thanking them for being there and supporting. So, yeah, definitely some special moments seeing what he did this year.
And he's like a Jim Hobson type, who is a friend of both of ours. Jim Hobson, he was a football guy that was a president, and he got it. Wade Miller gets it. Like he sent you a text after that Ottawa game. You came out of the dressing room going, he sent me a text.
Yeah, like he's he grinds it on teams. He was a grinder. He gets the grind. He was a Canadian in the league. He did the special teams thing. Like, that's a guy that understands it. So, it's cool to have a guy in a position of power like that who gets it from a player's perspective.
So Luke Wilson, coach, he grew up in Canada, got drafted, went to Rice, played in the NFL. He's now the TSN guy. You took a picture with him on the sidelines. Him and I had our run-ins early. We smoothed things over. But he'd been going at it with Peter Diakowski online, the former CFL PA rep, who's a friend of mine, been on the show. And they were going at it over like the preparation and the fact that, 4.5 hours and all this, and they're talking about that. And you said, hey, Peter's pretty right on with what I put in and with what a lot of guys put in. Like, I think there's a misconception that all you guys, and I'm not saying that there aren't guys that don't mail it in, but you'd get that in the NFL too. They just get paid more money. But for the most part, just talk about, there's a misconception that it's just 4.5 hours and it's not really a pro league. And that's bullshit. And in fact, I think it's more of a pro league because you guys put your body on the line for next to no money.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I think the whole 4.5 hour thing across the league is like any dude who's a real professional, which, almost all these guys are putting in way more than 4.5 hours of work. So while like the CBA might only structure a certain amount of hours, like there's player only meetings that are going on and dudes are in the sauna and the cold tubs and working out. And people could say that, well, that's not part of the work, but like it is. And, a lot of guys are at the facility for 9, 10, 11. Quarterbacks are there for 12 hours some days. Like they're putting in legit hours. So that number gets talked about, but unless somebody's really in the building seeing the work that guys are putting in, I think it's, I don't know. I think there's a misconception with that there's not a lot of work being put in, and maybe people are like, "Oh, that's the expectation." But at the end of the day, if it is 4.5 hours, you can take off whenever you want to take off, and not a lot of guys do. Guys are putting in extra work, watching film, meeting, take care of their bodies, doing the right thing. So.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going to ask you this now that the season's over, because Zach Collaros kind of got run out of town in Saskatchewan because people, basically said he should retire after he got smoked by Simone Lawrence and concussion issues and everything like that. Zach got banged up a couple times this year and left the game. I say nobody should tell a man when he should quit. It's up to him, his family, I guess, but what's it like in the dressing room with a guy like that when everybody knows he's been banged up from time to time throughout his career? Does anybody go up to him? Do they just leave him alone? How does that work without giving away too many details? Like, how does that work? Take me behind the dressing room doors when something like that happens. People come check on him like doctors would, but you know what I mean? Or do you just leave him alone and that's it?
I mean, I think he obviously has a lot of good friends on this team and guys that have been here with him for the last 6 years or whatever it's been, 7 years. Um, yeah, I think from a personal level, guys obviously care about one another and care about him. So you want to make sure he's okay. But at the end of the day, like, that's a grown man and he has to make the decision for himself and his family's involved in that. I don't think anybody else should really be giving their opinion. And I probably have done that behind the scenes for other guys in different sports and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a personal decision, and I don't think anybody really knows what's going on besides that individual in any case. So, yeah, I think that's on an individual basis, and I think that's that person's decision, and nobody else's opinion really matters, to be honest with you. And I don't think anybody really knows what's going on unless you're there and you see it. So yeah. That's kind of it. And I think you just care for people. It's your teammates. Like, you care when guys blow out their knee. You care when guys, get dinged up. You check on them. Those are your brothers. Those are your friends that you go to work with every day. So of course you care.
Is he going to the Kelsey Swift wedding?
I'm assuming so. He's talked about to me a couple times that those are his best buddies and they're really good dudes, stand-up guys. He told me that both of them would have been great fits for the CFL. They're just down to earth, salt of the earth human beings that have no ego. So yeah, I'm assuming he's going. He was in the box like last year for the Super Bowl with Taylor and the whole family and stuff. So I'm assuming whenever that is, he'll be invited and be going.
You didn't think about sticking around and watching the Grey Cup in Winnipeg?
No, I don't even. As a competitor, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to stomach watching the games this weekend, to be completely honest with you. So, no, that did not even cross my mind. I wanted to get out of there before any of that went down.
Isn't that weird? You grew up, like, I have pictures of you in Rider stuff. So tell the folks what you said this week if the Riders win. Tell the folks what you said if they get to the Grey Cup.
Well, I don't know if it's getting to the Grey Cup, but like if they won the Grey Cup, just being in Regina and stuff, like, I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't make me like sick. I think I probably would have to escape the city for a couple days because I just wouldn't be able to just stomach it and be around it, to be honest with you. And it's crazy what like 1 year somewhere does for you, but and I don't want to see, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to see anybody win the Grey Cup, but inevitably somebody is going to win the Grey Cup in Winnipeg this year, and I think that adds a little bit extra sting to it and just makes you a little bit sick to your stomach that somebody's going to be, in our locker room. So, yeah, I don't know. It's as a competitor, it's going to be really hard to watch the next couple weeks of football knowing that, we wanted to be there and we could have been there.
Yeah. Hey, back to we didn't talk about the playoff game. What was that like in Montreal, your first CFL playoff game? It didn't start well, but you guys almost pulled that out of the fire. It's kind of it went from a funeral to a wedding back to a funeral-like feel. Yeah,
it was a cool atmosphere. I think Montreal is a good fan base out there. Those horns are annoying as hell, but they're loud. They're loud. They make noise. Yeah, we didn't come out the way we wanted to. Obviously, super flat. And in the locker room at halftime, we were kind of like, "Hey, like, it's only 19 points. It's the CFL. That's nothing. But we got to go out there and earn it and actually do it. Like, it's enough talk. Like, let's go earn it and do it and, put our nose to the grindstone and get it done." And, man, those 3.5 minutes of football that we played at a halftime was something like I've never seen before. It was like touchdown, interception, fumble recovery, touchdown. We were getting down on kickoff and pinning them deep. And, yeah, we were rolling. It was honestly just a great football game, back and forth. We took the lead. Montreal slings it back. They throw a counter punch. They take the lead. We drive down, take a field goal, get within a couple points. They start driving again. Like, I thought it was a really good football game. Unfortunately, we just couldn't finish. But it was really cool to see the fight and the heart we showed coming out of halftime when we could have probably just laid down and been dead and gone home. So,
how do guys take, be honest with me now, how do guys take, like, he's a great quarterback and he's undefeated as a quarterback, but how do guys take Davis Alexander, his Baker Mayfield gestures at your bench, and saying, "Oh, we could have put 60 up on the Bombers." Like, how do your dudes take? How do you take it? That it drove me nuts watching it. Like, listen, I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth because I want guys with personality. It sells for the league,
For sure.
But sometimes the game humbles you. You're off to a good start, son. But come on now.
I mean, it was just kind of weird. I don't really pay attention to like press conferences and media and stuff. Just when I'm in the season, like I just don't really do that. I don't know. I'm probably a little bit different than you too. Like I don't really this is like you've always been involved in media and stuff, so it's different for you. But like I obviously haven't, so I don't really pay attention maybe quite as much. But I think he like kind of good for him as like a competitor. I think he kind of manufactured in his brain before the game that there was some sort of trash talk going on between like us and them, because even this last week I saw in 3 Down Nation he was kind of saying that if Winnipeg wanted to dish it out, like they could dish it out too, kind of thing. But I didn't really, there was no talk of that in our locker room around the facility, so I don't really know like where that came from. I know Willie kind of said one thing, but it didn't even really seem like it was like intentional trash talk. It was more so just like our motivation. So that whole situation was kind of just weird to me, and it felt very like one-sided. So maybe just as a competitor, that's the way he used it to get an edge, and like kudos to him for doing that. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, he's obviously hasn't lost the game yet. That's inevitably going to happen. Nobody's gone undefeated in their football career. So we'll see if and when that happens and what happens after that. So, I mean, you don't really, I don't think you really know until somebody gets punched in the mouth kind of thing, right? So we'll see once adversity hits, like what happens, and who knows how the games will play out this weekend or in the coming weeks with the Grey Cup. That's all I really have to say about that.
You're going to have me talk about these games here. Like Montreal's got an athletic team, and they're a different team when Davis Alexander's quarterbacking.
For sure.
Bo Levi Mitchell's a stud. He's got the resume to back it up. It's amazing what he did going from being benched in 2023 to having a season and a half of really good football. He'll come up as the runner-up to Nathan Rourke. He did in the All-Star Award, so I'm assuming he's going to in the MOP race too. And I like some of their pieces. I just don't know that they have enough on defense. I think they're kind of, these are my words, not yours, I think they're kind of a fraudulent first-place team, like in the terms of, I think you look at who they've beaten and who they didn't beat in terms of playoff teams, and they're 4-6 against teams that made the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Montreal on the road, even though I want Hamilton to win, because I like Bo Levi Mitchell, and I want the Tiger Cats to end their drought. So they can't do that unless they get to the Grey Cup. So, but I think Montreal wins. What do you got there? Who do you think wins that game?
Yeah, like you said, I think when Montreal's been healthy this year and they've had all their pieces, including Alexander, they've been a really good football team. And I think if they were healthy all year, it might have been a different story in the East. I think the spread for that game is like 2.5 or something right now in favor of Montreal. And I think that's pretty accurate. Like, I think it's going to be a good, tight football game. But I think it's going to come down to like Hamilton's juggernaut offense with that receiving core and Bo Levi Mitchell versus that Montreal defense, Norththorpe's defense. So I think the spread's probably right. As of today, I probably would have Montreal as the slight favorite in that game, just after facing them and seeing what they gave us on this last weekend.
Okay, so the Riders and the BC Lions, and the Riders had 9 all-CFLers, which is outstanding for them. That's a team record, including Tavon Campbell, Logan Ferlin, who at one point late in the season had only 1 penalty against him, which is absolutely ridiculous. Wow. Like, the guy's a stud. They got Keyshawn Johnson, they got Thurman, they got Micah Johnson. They got so many great. Micah Johnson, this guy's like a fine wine. He's a big dude. Like you said, he's a big dude. Like, they're a good football team. They're a well-coached football team. They haven't played meaningful football in a month. And sometimes I wonder if that is to get the bye, if that's good or not good. Like, it's good for health because the Riders should be healthy, but you haven't played. It's kind of like not going to the gym for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you're going to run a race, and by the time the race is done, you're only catching your wind towards the end of the race. The Riders can't get down too early. I have a tough time, but how do I put this? I think the Riders win for this reason, because I think their D-line is going to show up, and if their D-line and front seven shows up, the BC Lions just won't win. Like, I think the Riders win like 31-27, 30-26. Maybe that's a little high with how the weather's supposed to be. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it probably comes down to the Riders' defensive front seven. I think that D-line has caused havoc all year. And I think if they can get to Rourke, it could be a really long day for him. But if the Lions can protect Rourke, I think he is a stud, and what he's done this year in that receiving core, it could cause problems for the Riders. So I think, it's always won and lost in the trenches, but I think particularly in that game, it's going to come down to how well the Lions can protect Rourke and then letting him get the ball off and make some reads and have a little bit of time. But, the Riders' run game, it might be a little colder outside. It's going to probably be -7 at kickoff. Could be some flurries. Who knows? I think the Riders are going to be tough to beat at home. But I agree. I think, they haven't played, real meaningful football in a month. So they're going to have to get off to a good start and not start sluggish and let BC get on them early. So we'll see. I would say the Riders are favorites at home to win that West Final.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Have fun. It's always nice talking to you.
Have fun doing what? Have fun doing what? I'm doing nothing.
Well, I got some. Hey, listen, if you want to hire a CFL player, he's looking for a job in the offseason. Actually, we are the Dens come on board with me as a sponsor, and actually we're talking about maybe you running some DB camps for players. So if you're interested in that, DM me, hit me up at Ballsy Uncut, either on X, Facebook, or Instagram, and also you can reach out to me 306-526-7979. We're working on that. I think you're going to put together something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. It passes on to the next, and you've learned from some pretty good like younger great defensive coordinator. Richie Hall helped you out. It was cool having Richie Hall there too. I think that's kind of cool too, to have a legend in the league to be there to help you, kind of as almost a consultant, right?
Yeah. He's a big part, behind the scenes of that defense and that team, and all the guys love Richie. He's just a great guy and a great man to be in that building, and it's cool that he also lives in Regina in the off season too. It's kind of like funny that we both live literally probably 3 minutes from each other.
You do up in Northwest, yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool too. But yeah, I learned from a lot of good guys this year, and I like to give back, and I would love to do that this off season, and train some kids and stay busy that way on the football field.
Yeah, we're gonna hook that up. Chad over there, Chad and Paige are down with it, and Shamar Donaldson. Okay, and that's the other thing we never talked about. Richie Hall got absolutely drilled by Demski this year. He just got back from his knee injury, and he got you showed me the film in practice. Demski didn't see him, hammered him on the sidelines. Richie didn't see it coming.
Took it like a champ.
Were you guys worried? Like the 65-year-old man just got drilled.
Yeah, it was like kind of just like a flyby. Both didn't see each other. There was definitely some worry because obviously we knew he had just had his knee done in the offseason. He was just really coming back, moving a lot better at practice, and we were kind of all down on one knee and quiet for a couple minutes, but he got up and jogged it off and was smiling and laughing. And I talked to him after, the next day. I was like, "How you feeling?" He's like, "Haven't been hit like that in 30 years." So no, he took it like a champ, but we were definitely worried in the moment. I'm like, dang, that mess up his knee again or a hip or something. But he's a tough SOB. So he got up and shook it off.
Do you ever YouTube his stuff? Go look up Richie Hall, this little 5'7" guy running around.
I don't think I ever have in terms of. I don't think I ever have looked up his film in terms of a player.
Up, man. You got to look that up. 5 foot.
I should.
He will go down when he retires. He will go down instantly into, if they have any brains, he'll go instantly into the Ryder Plaza of Honor, and he will be one of the most beloved entries into the Plaza of Honor. Nobody has a bad word to say about Richie Hall ever in his life.
I mean, what, that organization has won 4 Grey Cups in 100 years, and he's been part of 3 of them. All right, that's pretty unbelievable. Not to mention the two he's also won in Winnipeg now. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
probably one of the best defensive coordinators of all time. Won two here, two there, and then to have won three of the four Grey Cups in Saskatchewan. I mean, that's a
One of the biggest,
no-brainer.
you wouldn't remember, one of the biggest bullshit ones was he didn't get much of a chance to be a head coach in Edmonton. So like that was one of the things. He said I never really pushed to be a head coach ever again. Like didn't matter to me. That's what I like about him too. He's pretty humble. Like he's a humble guy.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. Humble guy. Even some of the Americans this year, because obviously a lot of them don't know anything about the CFL. And like you said, Richie's a pretty unassuming guy, and he's obviously not like the DC anymore. So he's doing more stuff behind the scenes and isn't as loud and like talking to guys all the time. And, you know, the guys obviously like him, these Americans in training camp and throughout this, like, you know, the guys that were new. And I'm like, do you guys realize like who you're talking to? Like, that's like, yeah, he's a small little guy. I was like, that guy is a legend. I was like, go look him up. And then they go look him up and they're like, Richie, like, we didn't know you're a legend. You're a Hall of Famer. And he's kind of like, nah. I'm like, dude's got 5 Grey Cups, like 4 as a coordinator, 1 as a player. Like, you're in the midst of, you know, CFL greatness when you're talking to him. So those Americans thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I love it because he's the epitome of this league. This is a second chance league. Like for a lot of these Americans, they don't get, they're not playing pro football if they don't get a chance to play in Canada. That's the part the Moj was on with me here from BC. The MLS is the 14th best soccer. You're a soccer fan. I'm not. I think it's boring as shit. But you, MLS is the 14th best soccer league in the world. 14th best.
Yeah, I know.
Their franchises are valued at $450 million, but they market the shit out of their league. We have the second best professional football league in the world, and everybody calls it Bush League. Here's what needs to happen. I don't know if you agree with me or not. People, the 3 down guys are talking about Kolaris' $600,000 salary, which I'm like, we don't have great quarterback. We need more great quarterbacks in this league, and Kolaris can still chuck it around the field. So I'm okay with his salary. And he's taking you to 5 straight Grey Cups. Come on. Like, sometimes Winnipeg media and their fans, and I'm not cutting their fans down because I respect their passion. I always have. Rider fans too. But they're prisoners of the moment. Come on. You're spoiled as shit. Come on. You've been to 5 Grey Cups.
Yeah, that's sports. That's sports for you.
Like the Riders are trying to go to their 6th Grey Cup in the last 28 years. You were 5 in a row. Come on. Like, give me a break. But where I'm going with this is every owner in this league has lots of money. The community-owned teams have lots of money. The Riders and the Blue Bombers, they're the ones making the money. The owners of Edmonton, millionaires. The owners of Hamilton, millionaires. The owners of the Argos, obviously millionaires. Amar Doman, everybody's got money. Palado's got money. Why not make one salary not in the salary cap? So you could pay a marquee guy, a Shadur Sanders or somebody like that, $2 million, so they come to your league, and then you get some promotion and more eyes on your league. That's what this league needs. And they need to promote. They need more of this, where I'm talking to Ethan Ball, talking to Josh Haggerty, talking to all these guys. That's what it's not the game, man. We just talked about 2 great games, 2 instant classics.
Instant classics.
Yeah, it's not the games. Come on, people. This league, Ethan, look at your phone. I'm beating a dead horse here, but I don't care. Look at your phone. Like, go to your screen. How many apps do you have on your phone? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see a CFL app?
Yeah.
In 2025, we don't have a CFL app. EA Sports is in Vancouver, British Columbia, where I don't know if you know this or not, the Lions play, and we can't even get the CFL as an add-on to Madden or the college football. The great Nelson Hackowich has to spend hours and hours of free labor on his own time to just try to do it, and then people stupidly critique him. Like, what? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think it's the game, and I don't think it's ever been the game, and I think you talk to a lot of guys involved in the league, and it's the things around the game. And yeah, you can maybe make some things more efficient, the play clock, the benches, that should have always been a thing. But the actual game itself, you watch those 2 games last weekend, and I'm sure we're in for 2 amazing games this weekend. There's nothing wrong with the product. It's a matter of the things around the game to get people interested and back to the games. You know, the West Final, as we speak now, isn't even sold out yet, and they're having to give tickets away essentially to try to get people in the building, and like that would have never happened 15, 20 years ago. So I don't know. It's not the CFL game to me. It's the stuff around the game that needs to be cleaned up and could be cleaned up and made a lot more professional per se. So yeah, you've hit the nail on the head with a lot of things you talk about, but in particular this issue, and you have some really creative ideas of how to fix it. So just wish people would maybe listen to you more often, but they don't. So, but they don't. So,
I got fired. Instead I got fired. Yeah, instead I got fired.
But they don't.
Instead I got fired. Yeah, that's
so
how
they
it
don't.
is.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, well, you know what? And that's maybe why the league is where it is. Just get rid of the passionate guy who cares about the league and knows a lot about the league.
How about, I guess let me end on this. How about Winnipeg fans selling out every single home game? That's a pretty amazing feat, I guess you can end on. Like, we talk about people not interested in the CFL and stuff, but it's pretty top notch for them to sell out every single game in a season. It's probably hasn't been done that many times before, and especially not in the last 10, 15 years. So it's pretty impressive.
It's funny how I'm a spiritual guy, you're a spiritual guy. It's funny how things work. Like I grew up being a Rough Rider fan. All I ever wanted to do was become the radio announcer for the Rough Riders. I got to do that for 2 years, and then whatever, a bunch of bullshit. You went to games with your mom because I got you tickets, because my friend Ryan Pollock would help me out. And so we got tickets, got you to the games, and you became a fan. And you always wanted to run out of the tunnel being a Rough Rider. And you hated when Weston Dressler went to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. and it was like fun to go to games, and you couldn't get a ticket and everything like that. And it's funny, and a lot of it has to do, in fairness, with the fact that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been winning. Okay, before you got there, they've been winning because they were struggling for a while. Okay, so let's not be prisoners of the moment ourselves. But it's kind of ironic that you go, like I live in White City now. I'm 5 hours away, 5 hours and 12 minutes away from my house to parking in your parking lot to go to the Bomber games at, like, because you're on campus there. And it's like it was. Doesn't it have the feel like you're a player now? You're not on the stands. Doesn't it have the feel like when you were going to Rider games at Old Taylor Field? That's the feel in Winnipeg. That's what I get.
It feels like a big deal. It's hard to get a ticket to a game. You know, it's sold out. People are asking for tickets, looking for tickets from us and family members. And, even the tailgate when you walk up to the stadium, like, it feels like a big deal, which is just, it's awesome. And the fact that they did that week in and week out for 9 weeks is just, it's awesome. It feels like, you know, when I was a kid, 10, 12 years old, going to Mosaic, and you'd be shocked if you saw a little, obviously the shitty seats, you saw like a little speck of orange in the corner, and you're like, what the hell? Like, why is the game, why is it not packed? And like, as a kid, I was always like disappointed. I'm like, damn, like, why isn't it like sold, like packed today or sold out today? Like, it definitely is cool to know that every weekend when you run into the tunnel, like, oh, it's going to be a great atmosphere in here. And not every place has that in the league, really. No place has that in the league on a week-in, week-out basis. So that was awesome.
Although I do know the radio station in Regina that broadcasts the games is going to be handing out 10,000 cowbells for this game, so it will be loud in there.
It'll be loud. It'll be loud for sure. It'll be loud for sure.
And we're not going to bet. Like, listen, you're with the Bombers, so you don't have to weigh in on this. But I mean, let's be honest. The Rider fans have carried this league for years. Like, they go to all the games. There's a reason why the Riders in Toronto were at the Atlantic Canada Bowl 2 years in a row, because nobody else will go to the games. Like, the Rider Nation is still strong. I'm not buying the fact, like, people were all over me on social media because I posted that about the youth flag football and the handle of the tickets. I wasn't cutting the fans down, and I'm not cutting the Riders down per se. It's just that people are like, oh, everything's expensive, and it's true.
Yeah, but it is expensive. But it's also, what's the difference? Like, the people in Winnipeg don't have that much more money than people in Regina. Like, I beg to, you know what I mean? Like, I beg to differ that that's the case. So it's like, you can argue it's more expensive, but it's like, people are spending $10,000 to go watch the Blue Jays in the World Series, and I get that that's the World Series and this is the CFL, and I'm not speaking down the CFL.
But they go to NFL, they go to Morgan Wall, and they're going to go if they think it's worth it.
I mean, this is what, the third West Final at home for this city in what, 47 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. It's like, this is like a championship game. You can't cough up 150, $200 to go to a game. Not even that much, but like for a really good seat. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I beg to differ. I think that whole it's expensive thing. Yeah, maybe, but I think there's a multitude of factors that go into it, and it's not just one thing. And I think you can look down the road 5 hours, and that's not a very good excuse anymore at this point in time. So, yeah, it's weird and interesting to me. I think it'll still be loud, and yeah, I mean, Rider Nation. I think there's a reason why the Bombers and the Rider fans hate each other so much. It's because they're both the two best in the league, and they travel the best, and they care the most, and that's why it's the best rivalry in the CFL. So, 100%.
Do you think secretly, though, lastly, the Grey Cup, you don't know anybody in the Grey Cup committee, but don't you think they're kind of rooting for the Riders to win the West so that they're actually going to drop, like, because otherwise it might be like here in 2022, half-empty stadium.
Probably, and there's probably like a lot of Bomber fans that bought tickets thinking that we were going to be in it, and they're probably looking to offload their tickets, and I'm sure a lot of Rider fans are going to drive down the road and want to buy a Grey Cup ticket. So, I mean, yeah, logically you would think, yeah, it's probably they're going to travel the best because they're the closest. So you would think so. Personally, I don't want them to be playing in our stadium in the Grey Cup, so I can't be rooting for that at all. So,
I get it. It's just weird how life goes, man. If you would have told me,
crazy.
Look, you're sitting in your Bubba's house, and your Guido used to sit on the deck while you would run plays, and I would throw you passes, and you were in your little Western Dressler number 7 Rider shirt. That is unbelievable how life changes.
Now there's Bomber gear all over the house, and you can't find green anywhere in here anymore. So it's crazy how you just never know where life's going to take you.
Yeah. Hey, man, thanks for your time.
Yeah, I love you.
Love you too, bye.